Now, few figures in Nigeria's political history have traveled as many roads or crossed as many fault lines as Chief John Odigie Oyegun. An academic by training, a technocrat by instinct, and a politician by long immersion, Chief Oyegun has been at the center of Nigeria's democratic experiment for decades, from the turbulence of the Second Republic to the hard work of party building during and after military rule, to the delicate task of midwifing power in the Fourth Republic. He governed Edo State at a moment when civilian politics was still learning to walk. He became a founding architect of the APC, and as its first national chairman, presided over the merger that ended the PDP's long grip on power and carried an opposition party to victory at the federal level for the first time in Nigeria's history. Now, years later, the arc bends again. This time he's chairing a 50-man committee charged with drafting the manifesto of the ADC, an opposition party seeking to reimagine itself at a moment of national fatigue and political flux. So how will he help to shape a new opposition after building the ruling party? Well, to reflect on all this, I'm hugely delighted to say that Chief John Odigie Oyegun, CON, joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
I'm glad to be with you.
Well, we really are delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
At the stage of your life and your political career, one would assume that you don't really have to prove anything to anyone electorally. What do you feel you owe Nigeria most? Explanation, contribution, or atonement?
I think all three. Explanation, contribution, atonement. And I might as well start with atonement. Clearly, I was one of those at every campaign meeting. I think one of the very first to speak after we had been welcomed and the rest of it. And I saw visually the frenzy that that party elicited from the public, from the population, the expectations. As a matter of fact, I was riding with the president during the campaign period one day, and the crowds as we drove along were so ecstatic that he said, look, how are we going to satisfy all these people? I said, look, Mr. President, you can't solve every problem. Just let them see that you gave of your very best and restore hope to them. So I'm sad, very, very sad that it all went wrong right from the get-go. And it's continued to deepen the disappointment of the Nigerian population. So that brings in the first an apology, explanation, now the atonement.
Right.
I just said to myself, look, I'm sitting at home. I had really withdrawn from active politics. But I looked at myself. God has continued to bless me with relative good health. My disaffection with what is going on continued to multiply. I continue to get these famous text messages. Please, anything you can send me. Not like before.
Right.
Before it was, I can't finish paying my children's school fees. I have 50,000. It remains about 30, 40,000. That's what they say. Today, you will get a text that says, I can't put food on the table for my children.
So the desperation
Please,
has increased.
Totally different type of message. Whatever you can send, whatever. They don't tell you 2 naira, 100 naira, 1,000 naira. No, they don't go to that luxury anymore. Just send me anything you can afford.
And that pains you.
And that
deeply.
pains me to the core.
Especially given that...
And I look at our nation, I say, we don't have... Where have we gone so wrong? This is a blessed country, both in terms of its human resources and in terms of the actual physical provisions.
It's particularly poignant because, as I said, you were responsible for helping to bring the APC from the margins of politics all the way to Aso Rock. How much do you think about what this country used to be and what it potentially could be in the future, as you play your role as a leading member now of the ADC opposition coalition, and especially as chairman of the committee that's drafting the ADC's manifesto that you hope will convince Nigerians to look favorably at the party in 2027, as you managed to do with the APC in 2015?
This time we have a big message, a totally different message to coin. We have to start with the apology. Sorry, we have disappointed you repeatedly. It's not as if it's just the last government.
And of course, a lot of people in the ADC come from the APC,
also, exactly,
as well as the PDP.
And the PDP, all of those who were participants in the drama that has landed us where we are today. But we tell them, look, this time it cannot be business as usual. Even in the way the party is being run and the way it is being organized up to this point in time, you know, there are no governors. There are no major office holders. So there's a major sacrifice being made by virtually every strata of society. When I say every strata, I mean those who are managing down below. They are carrying out errands and responsibilities for which we don't ask them. How do you manage?
Yeah, but people say that that is for now, because that what you're hoping for in the ADC is that when the APC will be thrown into confusion because there are so many people coming in with so few positions. Everybody wants to get an automatic ticket. Everybody wants to get this or that. And when that starts to fall apart and people start to look elsewhere for that ticket, that your hope is that they're all going to come to the ADC.
Well, there's no other party, of course. It's
yeah, so saying to us then that it's a matter of, you know, grassroots people and all the rest of it, the same thing is going to happen to the ADC when some of those people come in.
The point I want to make is that as at now, the only attraction in that party for people who are joining in droves is that for a change, they believe that we are going to make the difference. And they are ready to make sacrifices. They are not asking for, yes, you have asked us to do A, B, C, D. Can we have 5 million? Can we have 10 million? They go ahead and get it done. That is the first indicator that these people know that things are bad. These people have looked at the leaders of this new crop of this new party and believe in them. And they are ready, as a result, to make the sacrifice that is required. The other issue of the droves of people in the APC they are all lining up now. And I want to confess to you, we are very pleased. We are very pleased that virtually all the governors have transited into the APC. You know how it started? I think Delta or somewhere, one of these states. There was this thing from red flag from EFCC. They waved the red flag, 1.something trillion. A month later, the whole of Delta PDP walked into the APC. And since then, it has been an unending queue. I wonder how they're able to cope. So we are praying. As a matter of fact, we will bring out brass bands if the rest also join the APC. So the struggle for the future becomes very clear. They, the APC, are in fact designing the kind of campaign that is going to come in the future. The people versus the oppressors. made up of so many governors and so many districts,
Well,
all under one umbrella.
I have to say
all
that-
their sins forgiven.
That's a powerful way to put it, and that evokes
It is the way-
considerable imagery in the minds of people.
And it's going to be a most interesting campaign
And people will
period.
say, no wonder you were able to pull it off at the APC with this kind of... But of course, let's not forget that you are a former national chairman of the APC,
Okay.
which made you a prominent member of the ruling party at one stage. But now you're in the main opposition ADC coalition. And Nigerian politics is such a divisive issue, mixed in as it is with ethnicity and religion and region. And on those points, where do you sense that the ADC is when it comes to the empathy and feeling and hearts of Nigerians?
Well, I'll try to cut a long story short. Yes, I was national chairman of the APC. 6 months or less into assuming office, fairly alarmed, I went to Mr. President on a one-on-one talk. I said, Mr. President,
That's Buhari.
Buhari, I said, this is not what the people were expecting. This is not what, from the way we campaign and the rest of it, they were expecting from you. They wanted a bit of the old President Buhari,
The old
sparks,
the fire.
fire and everything. And he explained to me, Mr. Chairman, no. I have learned my lesson. I beg your pardon. What kind of lesson? And don't forget, at that time, a lot of prominent Nigerians took their holidays abroad just to be sure and see what this new sheriff in town will be like. He said, no, he has learned his lesson. He wants to now show the people that he's a true civilian president in Agbada, and that he learned a lesson from, he named a few things, the drug guys, young guys that were
That he
executed
shot, basically.
and all that, yeah. So apparently he was still in a traumatic state after those experiences. And by the time we finished the conversation, I said, oh God, we are finished. Because, well, if he's not ready to be strict, if he's not ready to ask people to be...
What was the
to
point?
take consequences, what did we do all this for? And weeks later, months later, years later, I was proved correct. And of course, it became business as usual, only that there are a new set of tenants in Aso Rock. That was a shocker. No problem. The next man was streetwise. And I said, well, he's more of a politician and we know what to do. But with the very first speech he made, he landed on this issue of
Fuel subsidy.
subsidy, generally, the fuel subsidy. My initial shock was, good Lord, this thing is going to have a traumatic impact on the population and should have been prepared for. Not only prepare countermeasures, but prepare the minds of the people that, look, we cannot continue. This is what the implications are. This is what it is costing the nation and the rest of it. And before he finished his speech, the first indicator was fuel prices. From 100 and something to 600, 700, whatever it became. So that was the first shock. And we still, up till today, have not recovered. People, we progressed from hunger to starvation as a people, as a nation. Hunger, they may have 1 meal a day if they are lucky. Starvation, there's no meal at all. And you have to virtually scavenge. That is the situation we are in today, and it has not improved. The security situation, if you notice, it is creeping. At that time, we were talking of Borno State, Boko Haram. So it was contained, everybody thought it was unique to Borno State, but it is creeping down south gradually. The latest, of course, was the Kwara incident. And you don't see any thinking out of the box. As usual, the security chiefs are ordered to take immediate action. The Kwara one, the credible local sources, it's even published, already said the security forces arrived 10 hours after the attack started. So you cannot but help thinking, look, where did we get all this wrong?
Well, you talked about thinking out of the box.
Where did we get it wrong?
It is easy.
That is the ADC
yes,
today.
But
where did we get it wrong?
Well, I absolutely. That's the point I was going to bring up with you, because as I'm sure you know, I mean, you've been a governor, you've been chairman of the ruling party, you've been so many different things. Now you're charged with drafting the ideas that you're going to sell to the Nigerian people with what has now become the main opposition party in this country. As you draft that manifesto for the ADC, and you keep in mind all the things you've just told us that are the problems that you see from the party that you once chaired, what idea do you believe Nigeria genuinely needs that must go into that manifesto?
If I knew, I would say it here publicly, if I knew. But the truth of the matter is I don't have all the answers.
Right. It's a collective thing, isn't it? You have to discuss it with the other
Senator David Mark has put together a team that, and the only charge they have, you have to think out of the box. We have to have answers. The one thing that cannot be tolerated is business as usual.
Well, talking about business as usual, let's go a little bit biographical, because you entered politics from academia.
No, public service.
Public service many years ago. What did you think politics was when you first stepped in, and how wrong were you?
Wrong, I don't think I was. Different, I am, no question about that. But the reality is, I've never wanted anything in politics that I have not achieved. So the immediate lesson from that is that good people, or different people, let me not call myself good, different people can survive and succeed in politics. That, I think, the point that I have proven. And yes, there are all the types of characters in politics. And when neophytes come to me today and say, "Okay, I want you to be my mentor, I want to be a player," what job do you do? That's my first question to them. Say, nobody who does not have something that can put bread and butter on the table can be a serious factor in politics, because you just become a tool of anybody who can give you the wherewithal. So it is, I won't say I have been proved wrong. No, all the characters are there. If you read today's Vanguard, they've said some very nice things about me. I was very glad, by the way, because it means we are being noticed.
Yeah, well,
the APC, at least in Edo State, they have accepted that this is the alternative party. There's no other person to abuse, no other party to abuse.
Okay, you mean the stuff they were talking about, money and so on?
All sorts of things. I was very pleased. I was, strangely enough, I was very, very pleased, because if we were ignored until the election, then something is wrong. We haven't made any impact. So we have these people in politics, but my sojourn through politics has made me also strongly believe that Nigerians are basically decent people, and they are looking for decent personalities to hand over, to entrust the affairs of state to. If there is ever a credible mass of those type of people, we will have a different nature of politics and a different style. That is what we are hoping we are putting together in the ADC. Yes, we've been in all sorts of parties that have done all sorts of things. But as they say, as our Benin people say, whenever you wake up, that is your morning.
Indeed.
So for them, for all of us, whatever we have contributed, we ask for free pardon. We ask that people should now look at us as new.
But you know, one thing people are going to be looking at very, very closely is how you manage the process that throws up who is going to be your presidential flag bearer.
Yeah,
that is something people are going to be watching very closely.
That had to come.
And you've got big wigs in your party, people who command considerable public attention and followership. That's going to be a challenge, isn't it? I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
As a matter of fact, when the leadership of, at that time, we had not gone into this detail of selecting the ADC as our platform. The one lesson we drove home to everybody was that, look, during the period of building this new platform, there must be no real campaigning. There must be no cross insults to any other hopeful within the party. And they must not divide the growing new platform by trying to influence politics in different zones or different states. And largely, they have been faithful to that. So we too have been faithful to not bringing that issue.
Yeah, but they themselves have brought it up. I mean, Peter Obi has repeatedly said that he's not going to settle for second dibs. He's going to run. Atiku himself has said he's not going to step down for anybody, that he's going to run as well.
You don't start a negotiation by saying, well, this is your fallback position and the other one.
Right.
You don't start. You go for the very...
You assert yourself.
You go for the peak that you want. You go for that. And reality will have to dawn.
Eventually.
There can only be one candidate.
Right.
There can only be one president. And the basic thing is we are all going to do the arithmetic. If you run, what is the arithmetic like? If you run, what is the arithmetic like? If there's a combination, what does the arithmetic look like?
So it's a pragmatic assessment.
So if you are going to do a very, very pragmatic, look, to all of us there, this is Nigeria's last card. Nigeria has an existential problem. And that's why we say we're a rescue movement for the nation. We have an existential problem. And we cannot afford to mock up this process. We see the suffering in the face of the people. Look, you'll be surprised. You'll be very surprised at what the people think, what they are going through, what words are now pejorative.
Yeah, but that's what you said in 2014, 2015. The Nigerians voted you in,
we meant it.
And there's been no change.
We meant it. We meant what we said. But apparently they are commercial politicians.
Right.
That's where innocent people like us, different people like us, who believed, got mocked up and messed up. But we have learned our lessons.
Well, we're coming to the end of this very, very interesting chat with you, and I really appreciate very much indeed your being here. You are now, from what I read, 86 years old. 86 years of, and you look great, 86 years of living Nigerian politics. When history writes your chapter, do you hope to be remembered as a builder of power or a builder of principles or something else?
Both. Builder of power, builder of principles. We got the power, but we mocked it up. There is no question of that. But my message to everybody is nothing. You cannot avoid principle. You must stand for something. This nation must stand for something. This nation must look after its, 230 million population? God did not make a mistake in putting us together. The largest black-colored African nation. That was for a purpose. Today, where are we? Laughed at, mocked, derided, and the rest. And we deserve a lot better than that. So rescue this country is a mission that we must undertake. What history says, what it does not say, all I want to be able, I pray, to achieve is on my deathbed, I want to have a smile on my face that finally, Nigeria is out of the woods. We won't be there yet, but we'll be out of the woods.
Amen. On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Chief John Odigie Oyegun, CON, is a former governor of Edo State. He was a former chairman of the ruling APC party, and now he's a leading member of the main opposition, ADC. Thank you very much indeed.
You're most welcome.